There is a specific kind of madness that has nothing to do with losing your mind and everything to do with wanting something so consistently and so completely and so far beyond what the ordinary vocabulary of wanting can adequately describe, that the wanting itself starts to feel like its own kind of weather, not a passing storm, a permanent climate. The specific atmospheric condition of a person who has become so thoroughly preoccupied with a single, particular, completely uncomplicated desire that it colors everything, sits underneath everything, makes itself felt in the most ordinary moments when it has no business being present and refuses to excuse itself when asked. This person wants to kiss you, not in the past tense, not as a historical fact about a feeling they once had, right now. In this moment, and in every moment that came before this moment, since the first time the wanting arrived and announced itself with the specific, irreversible, this is not going away quality of something that has made itself at home in a person's interior without any intention of leaving. The wanting is constant. That is the word, and I am choosing it carefully. Not frequent, not recurring, constant, there in the morning, there in the middle of the day, there in the last moment before sleep, there in the moments between things when the mind moves freely and this is where it goes. Not because they decide to go there, because the wanting has become the default setting. The place the mind rests when it is not being actively directed somewhere else. The specific, warm, completely unmanageable destination of a person who has been thoroughly, irreversibly affected by you. And it is starting to drive them crazy. Not the bad kind of crazy, the other kind. The kind that arrives when something you want with this much consistency and this much specificity is not yet fully and freely available to you in the complete way the wanting demands. The specific, pleasantly torturous quality of a desire that has become too large and too present for the ordinary mechanisms of self-management to handle with any real dignity. They are not handling it with particular dignity. That is the honest truth, and it is also the most charming thing about what I am seeing in these cards today. Drop the word crazy in the comments right now and subscribe to this channel, because what I am about to show you about what is happening in this person, the full, unfiltered, slightly desperate, completely devoted interior experience of someone who wants to kiss you all the time, is going to make you laugh and feel warm and understand something about yourself and your effect on people that you probably do not give yourself sufficient credit for. Let me start at the beginning with the first time, because every wanting has an origin. And the origin of this particular wanting has a specific quality that I want to describe, because it tells you something important about the nature of what has been building since the first time this person wanted to kiss you. It arrived without warning. Not in the sense of being unprepared for the possibility of attraction. They were not living in a state of innocence about the general concept. In the sense that the specific, this person in particular, this is different from ordinary attraction quality of it, arrived faster and more completely and with more undeniable force than anything they were ready for. There was a moment, possibly a specific, identifiable, I know exactly which moment, possibly more of an accumulation that reached a threshold in a particular instant, but a moment where the awareness arrived, not gradually, not building over time from a small seed to something larger, but arriving essentially whole. The awareness that they wanted to close the distance, that the space between your face and their face was a problem they wanted to solve, that the wanting had a specific and physical direction it was pointing in, and the direction was unmistakably, completely, only one interpretation available toward you. What did they do with that awareness when it arrived? Nothing, not immediately. Because the first time this quality of wanting arrives, it tends to stop a person before it moves them. The shock of it, the specific, this is more than I was expecting quality of something that has landed with more force than casual attraction lands. They sat with it, probably did not know they were sitting with it in any deliberate sense, probably thought they were simply continuing with whatever they were doing in the moment. But underneath the continuing was the sitting. The specific, this is new and I need a moment internal adjustment of someone who has just received a significant piece of information about themselves and about the person in front of them. The information was you, what you do to them. The specific, unrepeatable, nobody else does this particular thing, quality of your effect on their wanting. And from that moment, from that first arriving whole, this is where this live's arrival, the wanting, has not stopped, has not diminished, has not been resolved by any amount of time or distraction or the various rational approaches a person takes to managing something that has taken up residence without permission. It has grown. That is what wanting does when it is genuine and when the person who produced it keeps being present. It accumulates, it builds, it becomes more specific and more present and more insistent with every encounter rather than less. Let me describe what the wanting actually feels like in this person's experience right now. The specific daily, this is what I am, living with quality of someone for whom the desire to kiss you has become the background music of their existence. It arrives in the morning with a particular quality, not aggressive, not urgent in the demanding sense, simply there, present in the way that certain permanent facts of a person's interior are simply present when they wake up. The awareness of you, the specific, warm, slightly inconvenient awareness that a particular person exists in the world and that they would very much like to be considerably closer to that person's face than they currently are. They carry it through the morning, through whatever their morning requires of them, the practical, the professional, the various obligations and routines that constitute the structure of their day. And the wanting is there through all of it, not intruding, not preventing the morning from functioning, just accompanying, a companion that has not been asked along and that has not consulted anyone about its decision to come along, and that is, frankly, not particularly interested in whether it is convenient. Around midday, something happens to the wanting. It shifts from the background into something slightly more foreground. Not because anything in particular has happened, because this is the hour when the mind has been working for a while and is beginning to look for somewhere to rest. And the somewhere it rests is the same, somewhere it always rests. And the somewhere is the thought of you. The specific thought, the one with the particular quality of proximity to it, the one that has a physical component as well as an emotional one. They probably put their phone down for a moment around this time, sit with the thought for a few seconds before returning to whatever the day requires. It is a small, private, nobody else knows this is happening moment. But it is real and it is consistent and it has been happening with the specific regularity of a practice rather than an occasional indulgence. By the evening, the wanting has a different quality again, fuller, less willing to be politely managed into the background. The day's discipline is wearing down, and the management of what they feel is becoming more effortful and less effective. The thought of you has the specific, increasingly urgent quality of something that has been kept at a reasonable distance all day and is now making it known that it has opinions about the reasonableness of that distance. At night, the wanting is honest, unfiltered. The specific, late hour, no point in managing it honesty of a person who has stopped performing composure for the day and who is simply, privately, completely in the full experience of what they feel. And what they feel is enormous and specific and warm and pointed with unwavering precision in your direction. Now, let me tell you about the crazy, because it is in the title and it is the honest word and it deserves careful description. The crazy is not distress. I want to be clear about that first, because the word can carry implications that are not what I mean here. This is not the crazy of someone who is suffering, not the crazy of someone who is desperate in the unhappy sense, the other kind of crazy, the specific, involuntary, occasionally embarrassing, mostly delightful kind of crazy that arrives when a person has developed a wanting this strong for a person, this specific, and has to continue going about their ordinary life in the full presence of that wanting. It manifests as distraction, the specific where was I kind of distraction that a person experiences when they are in the middle of something that requires their full attention and their attention has decided to go somewhere else without consulting them. They lose their train of thought, not frequently enough to be a problem, enough to notice, enough to catch themselves mid-sentence or mid-task with the awareness that their mind has wandered to a particular place, and the particular place has a particular face in it, and the particular face belongs to you. It manifests as involuntary attention to small thing. The specific, they probably do not know, I noticed, quality of attention to details about you that have no practical significance and that a person without this wanting would not particularly register. The way you tuck your hair, the way you hold a cup, the specific quality of your mouth when you are thinking about something, the way you are not aware that you are being looked at in the moments when you are not performing for anyone. They are storing these observations not deliberately. The way people store the specific details of things they find remarkable without deciding to remember them, the storage happens automatically as a function of the level of attention being paid. And the level of attention being paid is very high because the wanting produces attention the way water produces sound automatically as a natural consequence of the pressure behind it. It manifests as the specific ridiculous, completely unasked for inconvenience of thinking about kissing you in completely inappropriate moments, not scandalous moments. Just moments that have nothing to do with you and that have not invited the intrusion and that receive it anyway because the wanting does not particularly care about the relevance of the timing. They could be anywhere. Doing anything, something entirely disconnected from you and from anything adjacent to you, and the thought arrives, the specific, unhelpful in this moment, extremely helpful in no current context thought of you in a particular proximity. They have started finding this funny, the recognition that they are genuinely unable to stop, that the ordinary mechanisms of self-regulation, the ones that work on every other desire in their life with reliable effectiveness, simply do not apply here. There is something in the specific quality of this wanting that is resistant to management in a way that would be concerning if it were not also, honestly, kind of wonderful. It is driving them crazy. In the specific, I cannot seem to do anything about this slightly undignified, completely worth it way. Let me talk about what happens to them when they are actually near you. Because the wanting at a distance is one thing manageable, if not particularly managed. The wanting when you are present is a completely different animal. When you are near them, the wanting acquires a specific quality of urgency that the at a distance version does not have, because at a distance, the wanting is theoretical. It exists in the space of the imagined and the possible and the not yet. When you are actually present, when the actual you in your actual physical reality is in the same space, the theoretical collapses and the wanting becomes completely immediate. This is not the thought of you. This is you. The specific, three-dimensional, this is actually happening reality of your proximity. And they have to do something with that. They have to continue functioning in your presence while managing the specific, present, completely non-theoretical wanting of a person who is standing near someone they want to kiss and who is not kissing them and who has decided that not kissing them is the correct behavior for this moment, while also being somewhat uncertain about how long they can maintain that decision. The management is visible to them even when it might not be visible to you. The specific quality of paying attention to other things. The deliberate direction of focus away from your face and toward something, anything that is not the specific proximity that is making the wanting louder than usual. The occasional, a split-second moment of looking at you when you are not looking at them, and then looking away when you look toward them, because the looking at you when you can see me quality feels too revealing, too close to the surface of what they are feeling, too likely to communicate something they have not yet decided whether to communicate. They are containing themselves around you with effort, with the specific, I am being a reasonable person dignity of someone who has decided that acting on wanting requires more than the wanting alone, requires the specific right moment, properly expressed form of acting on wanting rather than the impulsive, this is simply what I want kind. The containment is costing them something. Every time you are near them, the cost is worth it to them, but it is a cost. Now let me speak to something about you, about your own experience of this person and the specific quality of what exists between you that is worth examining honestly. You have felt something in the specific moments of proximity, in the way the air between you has a particular quality that the air between you and other people does not have. In the specific way your awareness organizes itself when they are present, becoming more alert, more precise, more acutely aware of the details of the moment in a way that does not happen when other people are present. In the specific, slightly distracting awareness that they are looking at you, even when you are not looking at them, even when you are looking at something else entirely. There is a quality to being looked at by someone who is looking at you with this specific wanting behind the looking that is different from ordinary looking. That has a warmth and a weight and a directionality to it that registers even at the edge of your awareness, even when you are not paying particular attention to it, even when you are doing something else. You have noticed. And you have probably done what Virgo does with things it notices, but has not yet confirmed, filed it carefully, given it weight without acting on the weight, continued watching to see what additional evidence arrives before drawing a conclusion. Here is additional evidence. The conclusion is warranted. What you have been sensing is real. The looking is real. The wanting behind the looking is real. The specific, this person in particular, this wanting is specifically about you, quality of what they have been carrying is real and is the accurate description of what has been in the room with you in those moments when the air had that particular quality. You were not imagining it. The imagining would be significantly less interesting than the truth. What does this wanting, this constant crazy making, I cannot seem to manage this wanting mean beyond the surface of the wanting itself? What does it tell you about the nature of what this person feels and where it is going? It means you have produced something in them that is not casual. The specific, involuntary, resists all management quality of this wanting is the direct evidence of the depth of feeling behind it. Casual attraction does not behave like this, does not maintain this level of consistency, does not show up in unrelated moments uninvited, does not produce this quality of distraction, does not drive people crazy in the specific, pleasant, I cannot believe this is my life way that this wanting is driving this person. What drives people crazy is always, in the end, the things that matter, the things that have found the specific, rarely accessible frequency of genuine significance. The things that the ordinary mechanisms of management do not apply to because they are operating at a level deeper than those mechanisms reach. You are operating at that level for this person. The wanting to kiss you is the surface expression of something that goes much further than the surface. It is the specific, physical, most immediately present form of a feeling that has depth and substance and the particular weight of something genuinely real. The wanting to kiss you is real. And the wanting to kiss you is the outermost expression of something that goes all the way down. What comes next? What does the energy of this reading tell me about where this wanting and this crazy making and this constant preoccupation is going in terms of practical, actual, this is what happens next reality? It is coming toward expression. The containment, the specific effortful, I am being dignified about this containment has a natural limit. Not because they will stop caring about doing things properly, because the wanting will eventually produce a moment that the containment is not equipped to handle. A moment where the proximity is such and the quality of the connection in that specific moment is such and the wanting is such that the decision to act on it becomes less a deliberate choice and more a natural consequence of everything that has been building. That moment is not manufactured. It is not something either of you will plan or engineer or arrange. It will arrive in the organic, completely unscripted. This is simply what happens way of moments that have been building towards something for long enough that when the something arrives, it feels not like an event, but like an inevitability. And in that moment when it arrives with the specific, finally here, quality of something that has been building since the first time the wanting announced itself, with the force of something that had made up its mind, the crazy will make complete sense. Not the crazy of something unmanageable, the crazy of something that was always going to arrive here. Let me close with something honest and something warm. Someone wants to kiss you all the time. That is a sentence worth sitting with for a moment, not rushing past, not immediately analyzing or qualifying or integrating into a larger picture of what it means and what comes next and what you should do about it. Just sit with it, let it be what it is. Someone wants to kiss you all the time. Someone has become so thoroughly affected by your specific existence that the wanting follows them through their day uninvited and sits with them in the quiet before sleep and makes itself present in the moments between things and colors. The experience of being near you with a specific urgency that costs them something to contain. You did this. Not through strategy, not through any deliberate effort to be affecting, through the simple, continuous, completely natural quality of being yourself in their vicinity. Through whatever the specific combination of things you are, the way you look and the way you move and the way you laugh and the particular quality of how you are simply present in a room has done to this person since the first time the doing of it began. That effect is yours. You produce it without trying. And the person producing it with this level of consistency and this level of depth and this level of the ordinary mechanisms do not apply is not someone who is casually appealing. You are the specific person who has cracked something open in someone who did not particularly plan to be cracked open, who has wandered into the frequency of something that does not respond to management. Who makes someone think about kissing them in the most completely unrelated moments with the specific, why is this happening again quality of someone who has genuinely lost the ability to control where their mind goes? You are driving someone crazy in the best possible way, in the only you could do this particular kind way. Let yourself enjoy knowing that.